Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy.
I know for me personally, when I am about to go, it's like I have a certain desire, and if it doesn't come to me, I always fall back on the thing, oh, well, most of it is I'm overweight, and that's why I don't get this. That's why this didn't happen.
Well, so that's your crack of greatest resistance, isn't it?
So what is it with getting beyond that? Or do I keep the weight on to have that?
We would soften it in this way. We would tell it like it really is. We would say, the reason that this thing that I want is not coming to me easily is because I'm holding myself in vibrational resistance to it. Period.
Okay, yeah.
And then we would say, I want to know in what ways I'm holding myself in vibrational resistance to it. In other words, if there's something I want and it's not coming, it can only be because I'm not a vibrational match to it. So what kinds of thoughts am I thinking that are not a vibrational match to what I'm wanting? We're not kidding you when we say you could pet your cat and all things that you want would begin to flow into your experience. But most of you are so busy trying to justify your experience through all this other hard work that you really don't take that much time to allow the energy to flow. It's not about one thing, but often that one thing is a symptom of the greater resistance, you see.
Okay.
We would start with something easier. In other words, we would begin to notice the areas of our life that are working the way that we're wanting to. And then we would examine those areas of our life on a feeling basis to try to figure out how the thought and corresponding feeling is reflected in the manifestation. Just keep saying to yourself, what I'm thinking and feeling and what I'm getting are a vibrational match. Esther looked at Jerry the day the car got scratched. And she said, what I'm thinking and feeling and what I'm getting are always a vibrational match. Let's repeat that together, she said to him. What I'm thinking and feeling and getting are always a vibrational match. How much fun is that? How fun is it to get a manifestation and know without question that it is a perfect vibrational reflection of what I've been thinking and feeling? Do you feel the power that that gives you, you see?
Oh, yeah.
And then you just gently reach for a thought that feels better and reach for a thought that feels better. And the wonderful thing about it is you live in a time-space reality where the buffer of time between the launching of the desire and the receiving of the manifestation is getting shorter and shorter. In other words, the energy is moving very fast these days. And what we mean by that is as more people ask, the energy is answering. And so the energy is moving faster. So your manifestations are faster. Manifestations of all things, wanted and not. And as a teacher, you said, oh boy, I want to be a part of this time-space reality because how wonderful is it when people are seeing the manifestations and they are happening so quickly that they do not forget what they've been offering. Sometimes we think what happens is you're asking for things, and then you forget what you're asking for so that when the answer comes, you don't notice the correlation between what you've been asking. Don't misunderstand this asking. No one asks for cancer with their mouth. But if they were not asking for it, they would not be getting it. Now let's put this into a very clear place. Would anyone ask for cancer? Doesn't seem that they would. And yet when you say, I don't like that, I don't want that, that's a bad thing, no to that, 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 what's happening is you're holding yourself in a place where you're not letting what you are really asking for in. And so the absence of what you are asking for seems like something else is jumping into your experience when it is not at all, you see. How do you find the feeling place of something wanted when you're standing in the middle of something not wanted? And the thing about things that have to do with your physical body is that most of you offer your vibration mostly in response to what you are observing. So if you observe something that pleases you, you feel good and attract more good. If you see something that doesn't please you, you feel bad and disallow more good in that feeling. So then what happens is, then physical beings say, well, I need to fix that so that I can have a better feeling. And we say, you just can't get there from there. So how does one begin to feel good about something that they've been feeling bad about? Well, that's a rather hard thing to do. something that we've been offering recently that can be helpful is imagine that you have some sandpaper. And it's not very coarse. It's a very fine sandpaper. And when you touch it, it actually is pleasant at first. And so you keep pushing on it, rubbing it a bit and rubbing it and rubbing it and rubbing it, and for no good reason other than that it's there. And you've seen others do it. Your mother did it. And it gets attention when you do it. And as you do it more, it gets less and less good feeling. But the habit is there, so you keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it until, before you know it, you've got a sore spot. The thing that we most want you to hear is that at any point here, you could just withdraw from that. All of you go home and rub on something like that. And as you rub on it for a little while, and rub on it for a little while, and rub on it for a little while, until you are feeling the discomfort of it, then just make a decision and lift off of it and feel the relief of lifting off of it. Feel the relief of lifting off of it. And it is that feeling of the relief of lifting off of it that is the stopping of the resistance and the allowing of the well-being to return. We said earlier that most of you are offering most of your vibration in response to something that you are observing. And the thing when it has to do with your physical body that makes it a little more difficult for you is that you take your physical body almost everywhere you go. And you observe through your physical body. So it's hard not to notice what's happening with your physical body. But what we are wanting you to do is find some things that are on other subjects other than that. And as you find some things that are on other subjects other than that, what you will begin to notice is that the universe is answering everything that you're asking for. And once you begin to see some manifestations, then you can begin to apply them to other things. Some time ago, Esther was allowing Abraham to speak to a friend on the telephone. And this woman had all kinds of things that she wanted, but she was nowhere near the vibration of any of them. And she was feeling such frustration. And as we chatted with her, we attempted, through our stories and words, to bring her more and more into vibrational harmony with her well-being so that she could allow more of these things that she was wanting. But she could not hear any of it. She wanted more action stuff. She wanted a pill or a process or something that would change the dynamics of her experience and bring to her what she wanted right now. And because the issues were such big issues that she had been chewing on, in other words, she had very strong opinions about all of these things. And her opinions or beliefs about these things were not a vibrational match to her now desire. So we said to her, let's start with something easier. She said, what do you mean? And we said, just pick a subject that you can let law of attraction demonstrate its ability to yield to you. Pick any subject and spend a few seconds just pondering it, some subject where you don't have strong vibrational resistance to it, and hold it in your consciousness, and then watch how quickly the law of attraction will yield this information to you. Well, she wasn't having any of it. It seemed like a stupid game, and it wasn't getting her where she wanted. And she couldn't think of anything. And we said, well, for example, let's talk about blue glass. And she said, well, why would I want to talk about blue glass? And we said, well, because blue glass can be very beautiful. It can be very pleasant. People make chandeliers from it, and they make stained glass windows, and they make jewelry. And for just a few seconds, we chatted about blue glass. And then we said, let's choose another subject. And she couldn't think of one, so we chose the subject of butterflies. And she said, why would I want to talk about butterflies? And we said, because it's a subject where you don't have much resistance. Butterflies are so beautiful. They move about everywhere. They come in all different sizes and colors. And then we said, choose another subject. And she could not think of anything. So we chose the subject of a feather. And she said, why would I want to think about a feather? And we said, because a feather is a beautiful thing to behold. They come in all kinds of different colors. And we chatted about the feather. And then the phone call came to an end. She thought she had received nothing from it. She was frustrated and not happy about what had taken place. And now Esther and Jerry go to lunch. And they are in San Diego, and they go down to La Jolla, and they're going to have lunch at George's, and they get out of the car, and Jerry is on his way down the street to George's, and Esther is summoned as if in a hypnotic trance right into the store in front of her, which is not an unusual thing. And Jerry, seeing that he had lost his mate, came back to find her, and she is standing in the back of a shop beholding a wall of blue glass, the likes of which she had never seen before. She could not believe the number of different shapes and sizes of this incredible blue glass. And Esther did not make the correlation. She did not realize that it was because of the attention to it. She was not making that association. And then they had lunch, and then they went to the ocean side to look at the beautiful water. And as they got out of the car and walked across the grass, a flurry of butterflies surrounded them that was so dense for a moment they almost could not see. Both of them, a rare thing, stopped talking so that they wouldn't eat them as they were moving through them. And neither of them, Jerry had not heard the conversation. Esther was still not making the association. And then a little boy, 2 years old about, comes running across the lawn, and he's looking right at Esther. And he has something in his hand, and he is intently moving toward her, and he is holding up to her a feather that he had found on the grass. And at the moment that Esther saw the feather, then she made the association that in about an hour's time of focusing upon these three things that held no point of resistance within Esther's vibration, the universe had yielded them to her in extraordinary ways. What we mean by start with something easier is just that. Pick some subjects that don't hold any strong negative charge. Ponder them lightly, with pleasure and intent, and watch how quickly the universe will yield. Yesterday, or day before, friends said to Esther, "You ought to get the Macintosh Cube." Esther said, "The what?" "Great new computer. Just what you need." Esther said, "The what?" They arrive at the hotel. Another friend hands her a bag of stuff she's gathered and collected. One of them being a magazine. On the front cover is the cube. Not a surprise to Esther. In other words, anything that you identify as point of interest, the universe will find a way to yield every single time, no exceptions. So when you accept that you are the benefactor of an enormous staff of non-physical energy that is working tirelessly and expertly and deliberately to satisfy anything that you as a perceiver out here on the leading edge might require or request. It's this earning thing that's got you all tripped up. You keep thinking that you have to go through some sort of effort in order to justify the well-being. You think you must earn it. And we say there's no earning involved. It's aligning. Rather than earning, you are aligning with the well-being. The sales job that we are doing here today, that we are so wanting so much for you to hear, is that you are leading edge creators. Creators. You are creators. You are creators with endless staffs of non-physical energy wanting to assist you. So you sort through the nitty-gritty. Some of it you don't like, some of it you do like. It assists you in giving birth to a desire. You turn your attention to the desire, you align with it, and the universe yields every time, no exception. Good.